Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? This time we're exploring a world where magic is real and secrets, well, they have a certain aroma. We're diving into Lies on the Serpent's Tongue, and let me tell you, this book is like nothing I've ever read before.
What really hooked me right from the start was this. The main character, Rowan James, can actually smell lies.
Whoa, wait, really?
Yeah, it's not just, a figure of speech. For her, dishonesty, it literally has a stench.
That's wild and kind of unsettling, right? Makes you think, if I could smell lies, would I even want to? I mean, think about it. All those little white lies, those half-truths, all the little deceptions we run into every day.
Yeah, it really makes you question, like, could you actually handle knowing the truth all the time, even if it was, painful or uncomfortable? And then think about how that would affect your relationships.
Absolutely. Imagine you're at a family dinner, right? And suddenly, every time someone says, oh, I love your aunt's casserole, you're hit with this wave of, well, stench.
Totally. But it goes beyond just like social awkwardness. This ability of Rowan's makes her super skeptical, constantly on edge. She ends up questioning everyone's motives, and it makes forming real connections a huge challenge for her.
That's so true. It really makes you think about how fragile trust can be. But there's this other layer to it that I found even more, I don't know, unsettling. It's that not all lies have a smell for Rowan. Some are completely odorless.
Oh, yeah, that's where things get really interesting. It makes you wonder, why would some lies be like masked? What's going on there? It suggests there's some deeper magic at play, maybe even memory manipulation. Makes you question what's the real truth and who's actually controlling the narrative.
It's like, what if someone's lying to you, but you have no clue because your senses are being tricked? It adds this whole other level of paranoia and uncertainty to the story.
Absolutely, and that whole sense of uncertainty, it's amplified by the setting, too. Rowan lives on this place called Bittersweet Farm in the Appalachian Mountains. It's an area steeped in folklore, tradition, and this touch of magic that feels both enchanting and, well, kind of ominous.
I loved how the author, Kate Pearsall, brought the Appalachian Mountains to life.
Hmm.
You could practically feel that crisp mountain air, and hear the wind like whispering secrets through the trees.
It's not just a backdrop, though. The mountains are almost like a character themselves, shaping the lives and beliefs of the people who live there. You get this sense of like ancient wisdom woven into the very landscape.
Okay, and speaking of ancient wisdom, we got to talk about the bone tree. This isn't just some random tree in the backyard. It's like this mystical anchor for the town, and especially for Rowan's family.
The bone tree is almost like this bridge between our world and, well, something else. It's connected to what they call the Otherworld, a realm of magic and mystery that seems both alluring and kind of dangerous. And the fact that the bone tree is actually cracking, that's a bad sign for sure.
Yeah, it's like a giant warning sign, right? Like something's out of balance. And that imbalance is starting to affect the town. People are getting sick, losing their memories, even objects are disappearing. It's creepy, unsettling, and you can't help but wonder what's going to happen when that tree finally breaks.
And adding to that unsettling feeling is the introduction of this figure, the moth-winged man. He comes straight out of Appalachian folklore, and let's just say he's not exactly known for being a good guy.
Yeah, he's not exactly Santa Claus, is he? I mean, he's known for making deals, the kind that sound tempting at first, but probably come with a huge price tag. And guess what? Rowan's family, they might have made a deal with this guy generations ago.
Whoa, that sets up this really intriguing tension between the past and the present. What choices were made back then, and how are they affecting Rowan's life now?
And as if that weren't enough, there's this blast from the past who suddenly shows up. Hadrian. Charming, mysterious, and clearly connected to the other world.
Yeah, you get the sense that Hadrian's motives are a bit of a mystery. Is he there to help Rowan, or does he have some hidden agenda? And what's his connection to this Mothwing Man character? Pearsall keeps you guessing.
Oh, I'm already suspicious.
Yeah.
But one thing I really loved is that Rowan's not alone in all of this. Her sisters, Lyndon and Juniper, they each have their own unique abilities, and that adds another layer to the whole story.
Yeah, it's like each member of the James family embodies a different aspect of this magical world. Lyndon can actually taste emotions, which is just mind-blowing. Imagine experiencing the world through taste.
Right. That's intense. And Juniper, she can communicate with spirits. So cool, but kind of terrifying too. It just makes their whole family dynamic so fascinating, especially when you factor in their grandmother, who clearly has some secrets of her own.
Definitely. And then there's that scene where Rowan's mom loses a necklace, but she also loses the memory of a story connected to it.
Oh, yeah, that was spooky. It's not just like she lost a piece of jewelry. It's like a piece of her is missing. And it really drives home the point that the threat Rowan's facing isn't some abstract thing. It's something that can touch those closest to her.
Yeah, and it raises the stakes. If pieces of people's souls can be stolen, what does that mean for those left behind? What happens to those missing parts?
That's a great question. Oh, and we can't forget about the Wampus Cat, another creature straight out of Appalachian folklore, and this one is definitely on the creepy side.
The Wampus Cat is this fearsome creature, and its presence just adds to this growing sense of dread, this feeling that something really bad is brewing Caball Hollow.
So let me get this straight. We have a family with magical powers, a cracking bone tree that's like a gateway to another dimension, a weird illness stealing people's memories, a moth-winged man making deals, a guy from the past with unclear intentions, and a Wampus Cat lurking in the shadows. I'm hooked. How about you?
Totally. Pearsall has created this world that's both familiar and unsettling, where magic and reality are all tangled up. It's a story that pulls you in and leaves you wanting more. I can't wait to see what happens next.
You know what I found really captivating about this book?
Mm.
It's how Pearsall manages to weave together all these different elements. You've got family drama, small town life, ancient folklore, and it all comes together to create this rich tapestry of magic and mystery.
Oh, I totally agree. It's like she took these everyday experiences and kind of infused them with this sense of wonder and danger. And it's not just about the supernatural stuff either. It's about the characters and how they relate to each other. Like Rowan's job as a fire lookout, it's not just a job, right? It becomes this metaphor for her own personal journey of discovery.
Exactly. I mean, she's literally up there watching for danger, but she's also starting to see the hidden dangers lurking beneath the surface of her own life and the town's history.
Mm.
And the creatures she encounters, they're not just random, They're like symbols, omens, pointing to these deeper forces at work. Like, remember that adder she finds? I mean, an adder in West Virginia, that's not exactly their natural habitat.
Mhm.
And then there are those magpies, always lurking around the bone tree, watching Rowan.
Mhm.
They're associated with secrets and trickery, right? Almost like they're guarding something or someone.
Yeah, it's like they're messengers from the Otherworld, reminding Rowan that she's not dealing with an ordinary mystery. She's stepped into this realm where the rules of reality are kind of blurry.
Ooh, and speaking of blurry realities, that scene with the Wampus Cat. Chilling.
Oh, I know, right? I had to put the book down for a minute after that. It wasn't just some scary monster popping out. It was the way Pearsall built the suspense.
Yeah.
That slow burn of terror as Rowan realizes she's being hunted by something ancient and powerful.
Totally. It plays on those primal fears,
Mhm.
the fear of the unknown, the darkness lurking just beyond our perception. Makes you wonder what other creatures are out there, hidden in the shadows, just waiting to be revealed. Okay, I want to shift gears for a second and talk about the family dynamic. We've talked about the different powers Rowan and her sisters have, but it's not just a cool gimmick. It really affects how they approach this mystery and how they interact with each other.
Yeah, it's like each sister represents a different way of seeing and interacting with the world. Rowan, with her lie-smelling ability, she's always on guard, trying to figure out truth from deception. Lyndon, who can taste emotions, she's more intuitive, more empathetic. She picks up on the feelings behind people's words and actions.
At Juniper, with her spirit communication, she's like this bridge between worlds, able to access knowledge that's hidden from most people. And then you've got their grandmother, who's seen it all, lived through generations of magic and heartbreak. She tries to guide them, protect them, but she's also got her own secrets and regrets.
It's like this really compelling dynamic between their powers and their personalities. They don't always agree, they clash, they protect each other, they challenge each other. It feels so real, so relatable, even within this fantastical setting.
And they're not afraid to take risks. Like when Rowan decides to investigate the disappearance of that John Doe from the hospital, even though her family warns her against it.
Right. And that determination often leads her into dangerous situations, like that scene at the Ick with Sunny Vane. Talk about Pence. He goes from being this, annoying YouTuber obsessed with the moth-winged man to something much more sinister.
Oh, I know. I was on the edge of my seat. And then we learn about his connection to those poachers, the ones who attacked Hadrian, and maybe even to Verney's murder. It's like he's at the center of this web of deceit, but you can never quite figure out his motives.
Yeah. Is he driven by greed? Ambition? Or there's something darker going on?
And then there's that twist with Ona, his production assistant. Did not see that coming.
Me neither. Pearsall drops these little hints along the way, but you don't realize the full extent of Ona's involvement until that reveal. It's like she's playing everyone, pulling the strings to get what she wants.
And it all ties back to the moth-winged man in the bone tree. Her story adds a whole other layer to the whole idea of deals and bargains and the consequences of choices made generations ago. Like history is repeating itself, but with a twist.
And the reason behind it all, her desperation to save her brother, it adds this like tragic dimension to her character. You can't help but feel for her, even as you're like, what are you
I
doing?
know, right? It's like Pearsall's constantly making you question your own ideas about good and evil. There are no easy answers in this world.
Definitely not.
And then there's a fire. It's not just some random natural disaster. It symbolizes the destruction that's threatening to consume Rowan's whole world, literally and figuratively.
The way Pearsall describes it, it's this unstoppable force. It's like a reckoning, a cleansing, but also a sign of change.
And in the middle of all that chaos, Rowan makes a choice, a sacrifice that could change the fate of Caball Hollow forever. She taps into her family's magic, merges with the dying bone tree, and creates something new, something powerful, something unpredictable.
When I got to that part, I was like, whoa, what just happened? It was so unexpected, so built, and it leaves you hanging, wondering what's going to happen next. What will become of the bone tree? What will become of Rowan?
I know. It's the kind of ending that leaves you breathless.
Pearsall really knows how to keep you guessing until the very end. And even then, she leaves you with these questions, these possibilities, like the story isn't really over, it's just transformed.
You know, after that crazy climax with the fire and Rowan becoming part of the bone tree,
Yeah.
I was like, what? So many questions, so many emotions.
It just shows how good Pearsall is at writing that she can get that kind of reaction out of you.
Totally. And it's not like everything is wrapped up perfectly at the end, you know?
Mhm.
You're left with this feeling of like wonder and possibility, but also this like little bit of unease.
Yeah, like the calm after the storm, but you can still sense the energy crackling around.
Exactly. And something that really stuck with me throughout the whole book was how Pearsall deals with the idea of truth. It's not just about lies and honesty. It's way more complex than that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Rowan's ability to smell lies, well, it makes her super aware of all those little nuances. She sees how truth can be, like, subjective, shaped by how we see things, what we believe, even our memories.
Right, like sometimes people think they're telling the truth even when they're not.
Exactly. And then there are those who, like, twist the truth on purpose to get what they want.
Like Ona. Her desire to save her brother, it really warped her idea of truth, and it led her down a pretty dangerous path.
It's a good reminder that even when you have good intentions, things can still go wrong. Makes you think about the choices we make, the compromises we're willing to make, and what we might have to give up because of those choices.
It's true. And think about Rowan's mother and that missing necklace.
Yeah.
It's like she lost a part of herself, a part of her soul, and she didn't even realize it.
It's a scary thought that something so important to who we are can be taken away without us even knowing.
I know, right? It makes you question what makes us who we are, you know? If our memories and experiences can be changed or stolen, what's left?
That's something Pearsall explores really well in the book.
And then there's this whole idea of the moth-winged man and the deals he makes. Truth comes at a price, and sometimes that price is more than we bargained for.
He's like the temptation to take the easy way out, to get what you want without thinking about the consequences.
It reminds me of that old saying, you know, about making a deal with the devil. There's no such thing as a free lunch, right? Real power, real knowledge, it always comes at a cost.
Yeah.
And sometimes that cost is our own humanity.
That's deep.
I know, right?
But you're right.
And that last scene at the new bone tree, it's like a visual representation of that cost, but also the possibility of starting over.
How so?
Well, the old bone tree, the one rooted in the earth, it represented tradition, history, the weight of the past. But now it's been reborn, rooted in water. It symbolizes change, you know, like things are fluid now and there are all these new possibilities, but we don't know what they are yet.
And Rowan and Hadrian standing there together, facing this new world, it's a powerful image of hope.
It is. They've been through so much loss, betrayal, pain, but they've also found strength in each other and their connection to the land and their family's history.
It reminds us that even when everything seems broken, there's always a chance for things to get better, for growth, for a fresh start.
And Pearsall doesn't try to make everything neat and tidy, you know?
Yeah.
She leaves us with questions. What's going to happen to Caball Hollow? Will this new bone tree be good or bad? What's going to happen with Rowan and Hadrian?
And those open endings, they're not frustrating. They're like invitations to keep thinking, keep imagining.
Exactly. It's like she's saying, here's the story, now it's your turn to think about what it all means.
And I think that's what makes it such a great reading experience. It makes it personal. It makes you think about the world in new ways.
Absolutely. So if you're into mysteries, magic, and characters that feel real even when things get fantastical, you have to check out Lies on the Serpent's Tongue.
It's a book that will pull you in, make you think, and stay with you long after you finish it.
Maybe it'll even awaken a little bit of magic in you.
Who knows?
Until next time, keep diving.